Okay, ladies and gentlemen, it's more or less 6:30, and we'll call the special Board of Finance meeting to order. We will proceed. The individuals here are Ms. Garner, Mr. Will Johnson, and myself. The three of us make it quorum. First item on the agenda is public participation.
I have a point of consideration. I'd like to introduce Cheryl Laflamme Miller, who is our interim treasurer.
Cheryl Laflamme what?
Miller.
Yeah. Miller.
Who's been hired to be the interim treasurer until we're able to hire a permanent full-time finance director. So Cheryl's been on board. Huh?
How long is, what is that expected? Is there an expectation?
We've reposted the position, and we've been getting a number of resumes in, and so we're hoping that probably by the end of the month we'll have a decision. But
hello.
Cheryl's here.
Hello,
so.
We have the next matter. Any other public participation? Anybody want to make? No. Okay. Approval of the minutes of November the 26th, 2012 Board of Finance meeting.
I'll make the motion to approve the minutes.
Is there
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Correspondence, quarterly financial reports from the Board of Education. Anybody wish to comment on Board of Education matters?
I just had a question regarding the Family Resource Center.
Sure.
Do they mostly get, I noticed like there's big amounts in September and October and then drops. So do they get like grant type of things?
That's exactly what it is. It's reimbursement that comes back, and sometimes the state is not timely with their reimbursements back to us.
Other than that, I didn't have anything else.
Any questions as to
No.
inquiries to it? Okay. The next matter is the quarterly financial reports for the general government budget. Running out of water there. Anybody got any questions as to?
May I ask a question?
Sure.
Is there, since I'm your interim treasurer, do you have anything on your wish list for how you would like the reports to be presented, what you'd like to see in the reports? Is there any different formats that you've kind of been wanting, additional information, something that I can provide to you that may aid you?
The way Paula was doing it, I mean, that was kind of a tried and true method. I mean, it isn't really in depth or something along those lines, but the general budget for the town is, you know, it's 4 million, was it 4 million or so, somewhere around there. It's not like it's pages and pages. I know the auditors are coming next month to, they're here when they're coming. That's usually.
I wasn't sure if there was any different format or anything visually you would like to see differently.
Not from me. I don't know if anybody else.
No, I mean, I like the, the written, and that started a while back.
Yeah, well,
the written parts kind of explains the questions before we have to ask them.
You know, most of those questions, I mean, that format, that's only been for about a year now.
Yeah.
Maybe a year and a half. And it's a good way, from my perspective, it's a good way to work, because when you see them, you know, the things that you get questioned will kind of jump off the page anyway. What is that deficit from? How come you didn't spend any money? One or the other, and there's a reasonable explanation for that, and pretty much answers it. The unfinished business is, if there's no questions, or we move on. Number 5, unfinished business, the water and sewer plant update.
Moving along.
Moving along, huh?
Actually, Joe, I can tell you, I was out to visit the plant, maybe
Still there?
a week and a half or so ago, and very pleased with the progress. Sightline, what you can see and the activities that are going on now, compared to what it was just a month or two ago. So they are making good progress out there, and to me it's amazing what a difference it's going to make. They've done a great job, and the contractor has been right on the mark, and the guys are happy. You know, I met with them for my quarterly reports, and the guys are happy with the progress that's being made. And I think we'd all like to be able to have it happen all overnight, but unfortunately that's not the way it goes. But you know, everything is right on the mark. It is really, matter of fact, the guys are very excited with the progress that's being made, and they're proud of what's going on over there.
Have they started to build, I know we talked about the armory, but now, are they building that repair site there, or
No,
what are they doing?
they're just going to put all the money into the sewer plant.
Sewer plant itself, no,
Sewer.
where are they gonna do that stuff?
Excuse me?
Where are they gonna do that stuff?
We don't know yet. There's still up in the air. For the time being, they're being stationed up at the
Yeah.
highway garage.
Highway garage.
But the Public Facilities Committee, I think, is going to review it and put that into the mix also. You know, so there's still a possibility that the armory could be in the mix.
Back to that again. I think I had that conversation with you last week. Okay, the technology park update.
Making progress, actually. We are at the point now where we've gotten the approval. I'm happy to announce tonight we've got the approval for the easement over the state-owned land from Kennedy Drive into the river. So that's one of the things that was up in the air. The environmental impact evaluation, that has to be complete by next week. It should be a draft of that environmental impact evaluation will be available to the public. There's
Does that take into account not only the 60-some odd acres?
It takes into account the entire park.
I don't know what the number is, total number.
Over 200 acres.
200, well, whatever, 200.
So it takes into account the entire park. So when we get the approval, barring that one of the state agencies comes up and picks something out that we haven't seen yet, we should get the approval. Of course, we'll have certain mitigation factors that we'll have to take into account when we develop the park. But everything being where it is now, we should be in a position where at the end of April, beginning in May, the report should be in the hands of the Office of Policy Management for final decision.
Talk about the agreement we have in place. Tentative agreement we have in place.
With?
The news.
Oh. You might have known that it was a right of first refusal that the news had. We do have an agreement in principle with the news that deals with the issue of gravel removal from the site, and so once that's, the determination has been is how much gravel should be removed from the site, taking into account the needs of the YMCA, the needs of the town in terms of developing the parcels for purposes of putting buildings, industry there. And once that has been determined, then we should go forward with a more formal agreement with them and have it brought before the Board of Selectmen for approval, and we'll proceed with that. Moving on that basis, we are also going to be presenting to the Board of Selectmen an agreement that we will have with Wheelabrator for the transfer of the property to the town, and also with the YMCA for the transfer of that 15 acres from the town to the YMCA. So that's, now that we have this agreement and we've resolved the issue over the right of first refusal, we can move forward on all the other things that are necessary in terms of allowing that transfer.
Who negotiated that for us?
It was a combination of the mayor, myself, Ernie Cotmar was representing the town because Bill St. Ange had a conflict, and Don Johnson was at the table. So we had a lot of parties at the table at one time, but when it got down to the end result in terms of negotiations, it was basically the news and the town were at the table.
So that eliminates that right of first refusal
Right,
block.
right.
Okay.
Now, Technology Park, I know we're doing it in phases. What are the thoughts for the first phase as far as how many lots are gonna be?
The first phase will be approximately, there'll be the 2 lots for the Y, because they split the Y for the building on one side and on one side of the road, and the fields on the other side of the road. There are mitigating factors on a good portion of that property because of archaeological findings that they had there. And also we have a spade-foot toad issue, so an endangered species issue. So that takes some of the land out of the picture. However, it should leave us with 4 lots that we should be able to develop, in addition to the YMCA lots. So, and that will be the first phase. So we'll get the access road to the bridge built, and then the access road on the west side of the river built, and then we'll be able to market those properties first. And in the meantime, we'll be going to the state of Connecticut with a municipal development project plan to get approval for that. If we go in with another town, we get a different reimbursement rate, a bigger reimbursement rate from the state, up to as much as 75%. If we go it alone, it's only 50% reimbursement. So we had a discussion today with some of our neighboring towns, and what we would like to do is have John Filchek facilitate a meeting of the towns in the COG, and we'll set out what the proposal is and see if there's any interest there. All we need is one town, and we get up to 75% reimbursement.
When would the state be interested in construction of their bridge?
As soon as we get the approval for the environmental impact. Once we get what they call a record of decision from the OPM, and that will free up all the state agencies to be able to release their funding for both the YMCA project and the bridge project.
The design work on the bridge is about 95% complete at this point, Joe. So we're ready to move on that as well.
It's gotta be a big move.
I think we'll see a lot of exciting work happen all at once, which is a real good thing. Something that we've looked forward to for a long time. Yeah.
Great.
I have to find another recorder, the memory is full.
Oh, what?
Memory is full.
We had that the other night, Denise.
Yeah, and it just, I took everything off and it's saying memory full.
Huh.
Go to a different folder.
Hmm?
Go to a different folder. Sometimes there's subfolders in.
Go back to those old recording things.
No.
You can always pull Doug's phone out.
Oh, wait.
Yeah. It worked the last time.
No, even though, results. Actually, technically, we have audio with the video.
Yeah,
Is that?
close enough? Yeah. Back in business?
Back in business.
Okay. The last matter on the unfinished business is the finance director update.
The position's been reposted. We have our interim finance director in place. And we are taking it basically on a month-by-month basis, but we're hoping, there are some candidates that are worth reviewing and possibly bringing in for interviews. So right now, I know Maureen and myself are reviewing all the resumes, and we're going to be compiling a list of potential candidates to be interviewed from the number that we've received. So.
Any thought of the date?
Let's see.
3/1.
3/1, yeah.
3/1 is our cutoff date, Joe.
But we'll probably be doing some interviewing in the meantime. So, and if we find a great candidate, we'll probably make a recommendation to hire.
Make it work, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, new business. Consider the approval of $60,000 appropriations for a security upgrade for the elementary and middle school. A vote is required.
Was that all explained in somewhere in our package, like the breakdown of the 60,000? I don't know. I don't remember seeing it. Do we have a breakdown of what the 60,000 is?
I wasn't asked for them, but I can tell you that we believe it will be under 60,000, so in the neighborhood of probably around 40. I can't guarantee because we need to go out and do some more specs. Basically what it would be is approximately, these are not firm figures because we're still running through 15 cameras at the elementary school, 15 cameras or so at the middle school, so a total of 30 cameras geared to a system that records and also notifies people when a door is ajar. And that includes installation, cabling, etc.
Now, these cameras, is that all within the school, or does it go to the police, or what?
With that, would have the capacity to be able to link up to the dispatch in the police for our entryway.
In all 3 schools?
We have currently, we have the capacity to do it at the high school already. That's already done. We haven't had that link yet. There's some network things that we're working on. But it would be the other 2 schools would be able to have that.
Do they have room for that down at the police department?
I talked to Chief Hayes. It was actually his idea. He thought it was, and he said it can be done.
Have you ever gone down there and looked at where it is? The police station?
Yeah, I've been in dispatch. Yeah, there's quite a few monitors that they have. Yeah, quite a few.
May I ask a question? Will the project run over multiple fiscal years?
No.
You'll be able to finish it?
Oh yeah, yeah. We think we'll be able to have it in by April, if not sooner.
Who's doing it?
We don't know because we're looking for quotes. We started to go out and take a look at who's able to do it, and then what the prices are also, because we want to get the best bang for the buck.
How'd you come to that decision? Did you, I mean, just the amount of cameras or what
we
you
actually
were gonna,
ran
what you were going to update your security?
We actually ran somebody through. We have a similar system at the high school that works really well. So we're trying to mirror that, but we also brought people in to say, some experts in to say, how many cameras do we need to cover certain areas? And they walked through the building with Dale Smith, our facilities director, and actually helped us cut down the number of cameras that we have.
Were there any other kind of suggestions other than just cameras?
The board has voted to put a different lock system in. We're covering that with internal funds. What it will do is have what's called a FARB system. I don't know if you know what those are.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so which stops that infamous rock that shows up in every school and every district, and or the pencil in the door or whatever, and it allows that instant access in and out of places. So we are also upgrading there.
I was just wondering if maybe, you must belong to a superintendent group.
Mm-hmm. Oh, sure.
And what the latest things were being put in.
Believe it or
I know
not,
Tony had mentioned at the meeting he had seen a show regarding one school here in Connecticut had put like panic buttons underneath the teachers' desks. So I don't know how advanced people are starting to get out there, but
one of the things that you do is, believe it or not, I went to a symposium the state sponsored, and you would think it's more enclosure of things and containment, and actually it goes the opposite, because people have situational awareness For example, let's say there's something happening in the mayor's office. We can't see it. We don't know where, if this was wide open, you could see it and move away from it. And so that's what they're encouraging. There's other things, different types of glass, different types of lock hardware, all that we're looking at, but all of those are quite expensive.
Yeah.
And we're trying to balance this out. Statistically, schools are the safest place for kids, bar none. And literally, the odds of a child dying at school is 1,000,000 to 1. You have a better chance of getting hit by lightning than you do dying at school. Why? Because there's so many adults around and they're in structured activities. So we're trying to balance it. We thought the FARB system was important because it takes that rock away and lets teachers come in and out quickly. The real problem is we have a lot of good intentioned people who say, I'm just going out for a little bit. And if you looked at Columbine, that's how the shooters got into Columbine. And so that was one of the things we wanted to take away that rock, that pencil, whatever, and allows teachers to come into the building. Us record who's in the building also, that helps us. Also, there's a deal to do that. The other situation is the cameras do nothing more than record, but it also lets us know who's around the building, lets us know who's at at our access points. But the neat thing about this system is it also lets you know, it shows up on the computer, door 22 is ajar. So we know if there's a problem. So we're trying to do that balance system. We believe it will be far less than 60. We put it in when we took a look at what the cameras were at the high school. We kind of doubled that, and plus with inflation. But actually, we probably could have gone the other way because cameras actually have gotten cheaper over time because the technology is not as new. So
Where this obviously is coming out of the town budget, or if we're voting on it, where would it come out of?
I'm sure the question is, don't you have $60,000 in your budget? If you looked at our excess cost report, I think that would answer that question. Presently, we have 10 unanticipated DCF placements for students. That our excess cost is running, I think in the whole, our tuition count, 550. We've covered it internally by moving some accounts around, putting some things over to grants on a one-time deal. So the idea is we've covered that. We have not come back to the town and said, oh, by the way, we need $550,000 extra. So it was the decision, since we covered the locks, one of the things that we don't have, I'll be honest with you, is that money available to do.
How much was the locks?
9,000, I just signed the contract, it's 9,700 or 600, I believe.
Where did that money come from?
We have a facilities account that when people rent our facilities, it goes into that account and it's always put back into capital.
Certainly the question that with regards to the Board of Education budget is like 16 million, somewhere around it. And then you have the grants and the 1.7 and what have you. I suppose the real question, and with that, with all those funds that are above that 16, is there not $40,000 floating around somewhere?
We just covered 550. That was, that we were able to do. I did not come back to the
what was
town
it, 550 for?
For DCF placements, overruns and special ed.
10 students from DCF, were they placed by DCF?
That's correct.
And what was DCF's match on those funds?
You do the excess cost, which is around, the excess cost grants for anything 4.5 times what it costs a regular student. You'll get back 70% of that, or thereabouts.
I mean, personally, I don't have a problem. I think I mentioned that last time I ran in.
Yeah.
That I don't have a problem with it. But the problem that I probably have is I don't know how much it's going to cost. And
not to exceed 60. That's what.
40, is it 40 or 60, and anywhere in between? But that $20,000 is that's a third of the cost.
I will not. We will do it for as cheap as we can do it.
And I am sure.
But I need to be able to cover it. I don't want to enter a contract and go, oh, by the way, I don't want to come back to you. But I'm pretty confident it's going to come in less than that. How much less, I can't tell you. So up, not to exceed will get me there. I'll get the board of ed there.
Can I make a suggestion? Put it in the CNR account, put in your cap non-reoccurring. If you go to your town vote and go to not to exceed 60,000, when it drops into the CNR, as the school calls down the funds, let's say that the budget, the citizens approve 60,000, and it ends up coming in at 42,000. The remaining funds that are there then could come before the board. We would come before the board and say, the project's done, we have this money. The remaining funds then could be relieved by the governing body and dropped back into the general fund. That way you're assured it would stay and you would have control over it.
Let me ask a question. With regards to the spending of this money, the appropriation of this money, and what have you, we did a thing several months ago for Jerry, and heard for some length of time, why didn't it go to the Board of Selectmen, why didn't it do this, it needed to do that. Does this request circumvent that, or am I going to hear a little bit down the road?
Does it always come, does the Board of Ed always come to you direct?
Yes.
Yeah.
As long as I've been here, we come to you directly.
But I still don't understand, before I can think about it, I guess I don't understand the process. Where do we have $40,000
That's kind of where I'm going.
in my budget?
Well, we got some in the fund balance, we got some in capital
Somebody usually
non-recurring.
tells us.
Well, Cheryl hasn't been able to.
Yeah, that's what I'm
hasn't
saying.
been on board long
I'm
enough
looking
to
at this.
track this all
I got
down
the
yet.
budget in front of me, but I'm not seeing what line item am I going to look
There
at?
could be some funds available in fund balance, which could be relief for projects that are completed, that there's certainly potentially funds there. I haven't had a chance to get the report showing what projects and their process, what is left over from multiple year projects. I haven't had a chance to get that report yet from the auditors to review it.
Well,
It could be a combination of fund balance and monies within the CNR.
I mean, in the town budget, $40,000 to $60,000 is a big amount of money. I mean, we don't have $40,000 or $60,000.
And the question again is, does this, given just within a very short memory, does this need to go before the Board of Selectmen, before it comes here? Because it's over that $10,000.
They always directly come to the Board of Finance.
Get the charter.
Get the charter.
Yeah, I mean,
Because
it's kind of your money.
Yeah.
You know, we've done this in the past when we had a difficulty with regards to an executive session where we spent a considerable sum of money to satisfy things. Now, that didn't go before, I just don't want to get this wrong.
Right, I understand. I'm not.
I don't mind spending the 40, I don't mind spending the 60. Because, just take your word that it's going to be less than that, I don't have any reason not to do that.
And you're right, we did go through some turmoil in just a short few weeks ago. And we don't want to repeat that.
Does it hit your capital threshold for town vote, the 60?
Yeah.
The other option we talked about is you have a gate receipt account that you control for us that's sitting right there. And I'm not sure what the ordinance says on that, but.
And I have the attorney's opinion on all this stuff. Here, I want
Back 2 pages. of
You mean
the
Bill
vote.
over here?
That's a no-no.
Go back to- Says it's for capital
That's so
expenditures. Gate receipt.
You want me to?
Yeah, I have one. He took mine. I'll take his. Thank you. It says something about a community capital for,
Well, I remember that.
Well, you know,
There's nothing saying we have to do this tonight, correct?
no.
So.
I would like to do it, I'll be honest with you, I'd like to do it sooner rather than later, but I'm not here to push you into a decision you're uncomfortable with either.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to be able to have you take a chance, have a look at where we stand with some of it, and get yourself more familiar with, you know, what funds are actually.
Well, I think we need to be a little bit more familiar too, like
Absolutely.
where we're. I mean, because this is our meetings are off, we're pretty close.
And we're 2 weeks away.
2 weeks away from
Right.
our regular meeting.
Oh, I'm fine.
Or, you know, our February meeting.
I'm fine, and by that time, we'll have a little bit better cost for you also. I will say that we've been pushed pretty hard on this by our parents also.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh,
and we have not made this a divisive issue at all, nor do we want to, at all. But our parents are pushing pretty hard. They want to make sure their kids are protected, and we want to make sure our kids are all protected also. So,
The thing that Bill had pointed out to, and I forget, it was on the truck. For purposes of Chapter 108 and 111 of the General Statutes as amended, the Board of Finance shall be deemed to be the budget-making authority and legislative body of the town, shall have all powers and duties contained in said Chapter 108 for the creation of a reserve fund for capital and non-recurring expenditures, and shall have the power to select the independent public accountant as provided in Chapter 111. So in terms of the creation of reserving fund for capital non-recurring expenses, you are the budget-making authority and the legislative body of the town.
So there's no need to, for the purpose of what we're talking about.
Right.
Yeah, there's no need for the Board of Education to submit that, effectively that bid or whatever proposal or what have you, to the Board of Selectmen to have them approve it. And if it's over the $10,000 amount, and then come here with that approval, so we don't need that.
Right.
And you're sure of that?
That's what I got the indication from Bill saying, but I'll double check it.
Okay.
But I think, Joe, that Peter Benoit had a resolution in appropriating money. I think you need to take a look at that resolution as well.
Capital, where it has to be signed off by the
It has to be
finance.
signed off by certain people within the town.
But you have to get to that point first by approving
Yeah.
Right.
where the money comes from.
So then, so if we approve it, then it goes to the town meeting, or something, that
we're
kind of
discussing
money?
that.
No,
No.
because
No,
you're
it's
the
like-
budget and you're the
legislative
legislative body
Okay.
for capital, reserved for capital non-recurring.
But it would have to have department approval.
And Cheryl has to get, in a
And-
position where she's comfortable in knowing, what's in
Are
that
those,
account.
are there sufficient CNR funds available for that 40 to 60 range?
That's right.
So, and that's the question, we don't
I
know
was
the
aware-
And
answer.
Cheryl hasn't had a chance to review it
I
yet.
wasn't looking for an answer.
No.
Okay.
For the sake of having that conversation on the 25th, I think it's 25th. On it, do you think we could get an answer to see if those funds are available in that capacity to use them on the 20th?
Well, hopefully we'll be close to getting our audit by then. So.
Well, but it'll be, I thought they were talking about March.
Well, they only have until the end of February.
But
But they only get, I think they only get two, do they get two or can they get as many as they want?
They can go, after February, they can go week to week.
Week to week?
But Ms. Miller, you don't think that would be a problem on the 25th? See if the CNR fund would be.
It shouldn't be. I already have an email into the auditors to request adjusting entries, that their proposed adjusting entries, and also for their balance sheet and their capital non-recurring reconciliation, so I can start reviewing it, obviously updating it for any projects that have been paid
Well,
in the current fiscal year. That would give us a better idea of what's available
But the
to
point
be
would be,
released.
at the moment here, would be solely for the funds for the school.
Yes.
25th? At that time, we'll have a little bit better figure for you also.
Well, it's
All right,
gonna be-
which I'm almost positive will be below that figure for you. Thank you for your consideration.
Any other business? Mr. Mayor?
Go home, batten the hatches, take care of your families, fill up the gas tanks, buy a little extra food, maybe a bottle of wine or two, and have a great weekend.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Is that a resolution?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
That motion adjourned.
Motion to adjourn.
I'll second it.
Thank you all.
Saying aye? Thank you.
Thank you.